Okay, comic 36. Well, there we are with the bad handguns, and oh, look at the smoke coming out of it. Yeah, that's it. My thing about drawing guns is apparently I'm very addicted to the fact that there's a sight at the end of it, or some sort of little notch that people used to tell me was kind of the sight you could line it up with. There's kind of there's two prongs at the end, and then one prong kind of near up towards the barrel. And if you line those up, that's sort of a makeshift sight. You know, it's not an optical lens sight, but it could just be sort of used, and that's the basics. So I always draw that, and it always looks like some fork shoehorn gun instead. Anyway, that aside. Nope, yep, there goes the throat. So Mindy begins with, "Aha, I've caught you trying to escape. You will find it is impossible to outwit Dr. Zero. He's quite a committed henchman, isn't he? He's very loyal. Little do you know that his fiendish plot to block out the sun's rays and blackmail the governments of the world is being set into motion even as bang." There's some more of me drawing of the sound effects. You could have at least let him finish the sentence. He'd have expected that. So again, Jeff's smile from that angle, or when he's turning to that side, the smile isn't near as good as when he's facing the other direction. There's the smoking gun. You can see because there's smoke coming out of it. See? Realism. There is a smoking gun. Possibly not quite that dark, possibly not quite that thick, but there it is. Kenny looks constantly confused. Mindy trying to, didn't I do something different with Mindy's mouth, where it was going to be an elongated, sort of a long, drowsy, anyway. The thing I started doing with Mindy, I can't remember if I did it early on, is that his hair, his little part, and sort of, I suppose it's, he had very light hair. It's based on the haircut of a friend of mine in high school, because he had very, very light hair that just went straight down. It was like curtains. So his little curtain of hair there actually goes over top of where his eye is. So I only draw half of his eye coming out the bottom, because you know, that's realistic. There's really not a whole lot going on there right now. I'm enjoying Jeff's hair more and more. Kenny's hair, do you see how I've drawn the hair to be a bit more over top of the ear? Although the back of the side of the head and the back leading down into the neck, that got worse and worse. That's not doing very well. Oh well. The style is cartoonish, and yet I keep complaining about it being unrealistic. I mean, look at them. They have like 3-inch tall eyes that have no width to them whatsoever. You can't. I managed to get through this entire comic over how many years I drew it without anyone's eyes having to be any more open than that already was. It went the difference between neutral and angry eyebrows, and the rest of it was smile on face, body language. In a weird way, I'm a little bit proud of that I didn't ever need the language of the eyes, because usually that's a big thing. I mean, Garfield does that all the time. His eyes half open, or like the eyelids. I mean, the eyelids drawn on the eyeballs was such a huge part of that. You know, they could be angry, or they could be kind of slanted and a bit more kind of relaxed and sleepy, or they would be exactly halfway, or just really, really, really low, so, you know, you're squinting at someone. The angry squint, as I have chosen to just suddenly call it. So anyway, there's the bang. Drawn in there. I'm theorizing now that there's a bit too much space there, because it's just something in my head, but if written out like that, it sounds like it should be bang. But whereas tight, tall letters would make it more like a sharp bang, you know, just all at once. But just elongating it out like that probably makes it sound like it was a very long bang. Maybe it's a slow motion scene. There you go. That answers it. The second panel is in slow motion. It's one of those action movies. Yeah. There. See? Found a mistake and excused it all at once. Why is he wearing I'm never gonna get over that. Why he's wearing a dark kimono. I picture it being brown for some reason, probably because I don't have much of an imagination at the moment. The joke here, which you're probably already aware of, is that the bad guys always explain things for too long, and they take all their time to explain everything, and in the time that they take to explain the entire plot of the movie is when the good guy could come. I mean, he didn't even say drop your guns. So while he was explaining things, he just, oh, well, come on. Could have let him finish his sentence. You'd have expected that. It's a bit different. Maybe I had a different punchline in mind. You could have at least let him finish his sentence. The bad guys always ramble on too long. See, you'd have expected that was better. Past me is smarter than future me. Honestly, I could probably ramble on for quite a while on this one, but it would just be the same points over and over again. And I won't ramble on about the joke, because you know what I mean, even though I can't actually describe it. So I guess we'll move on to comic number 37, and that will be in a couple of days, because it's the weekend, and I don't do these on the weekend. So I'll see you Monday.